Welcome. I am Day, DAA. Those are my initials. I am a woman in recovery from loss, grief, trauma, and addiction. I have found that in my years of active recovery, that upon waking, it is useful for me to affirm and devote myself to the me of my recovery, the one who ties all of the pieces of me together gently and lovingly to face each day. With these daily affirmations, reflections, and devotions, walk with me on the journey of renewal and self reflection. And remember that you are not alone. Fair use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. January 15. An unsuspected inner resource. With few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource, which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 567 through 568. From my first days in AA, as I struggled for sobriety, I found hope in these words from our founders. I often pondered the phrase, they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource. How, I asked myself, can I find the power within myself since I am so powerless? In time, as the founders promised, it came to me. I have always had the choice between goodness and evil, between unselfishness and selfishness, between serenity and fear. That power greater than myself is an original gift that I did not recognize until I achieved daily sobriety through living AA's 12 steps. Fair use. Courage to change, one day at a time in Al Anon. January 15th. Recently, I learned about a crisis in the life of an alcoholic I love. Today, while trying to work, I found myself slumping in my chair, depressed and distracted. Soon, all thoughts of work had fled, and I was busy projecting a horrible outcome to my loved one's crisis and dreading the ways in which the consequences might affect me. The slogan, one day at a time, reminds me that, in spite of my fears, I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Why I, why am I leaping into the future? Perhaps I've given my feelings no room to exist. Part of me gambles that by worrying in advance, bad news will be easier to face if it comes. But worrying will not protect me from the future. It will just keep me from living here and now. Today's reminder, I needn't explore how I'll feel about something that might occur in the future. I don't actually know how I'll feel, and it may never happen. So when I feel myself leaving the present, I'll remind myself that the future is not today's problem. Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its strength. A.J. Cronin. Fair use. Just for today. Daily meditations for recovering addicts. January 15. fear. We grow to feel comfortable with our higher power as a source of strength. As we learn to trust this power, we begin to overcome our fear of life. Basic text, page 25. Powerless as we are, living on self-will is a frightening, unmanageable experience. In recovery, we have turned our will and our lives safely over to the care of the God of our understanding. When we lapse in our program, when we lose conscious contact with our higher power, we begin to take control of our own lives again, refusing the care of the God of our understanding. If we do not make a daily decision to surrender our lives to the care of our higher power, we may become overwhelmed with our fear of life. Through working the 12 steps, we found that faith in a power greater than ourselves helps relieve our fear. As we draw closer to a loving God, we become more conscious of our higher power. And the more conscious we are of God's care for us, the less our fears. When we feel afraid, we ask ourselves, is this fear an indication of a lack of faith in my life? Have I taken control again only to find my life still unmanageable? If we answer yes to these questions, we can overcome our fear by turning our will and our lives back over to the care of the God of our understanding. Just for today, I will rely on the care of my higher power to relieve my fear of life. Fair use, January 15. Today, Emotions Anonymous. Reflection for today. Step 12 is a hard step for me to do deliberately. I think I do it best when I allow myself to be just myself. It is much easier for me now to share myself with others. I have to be able to 12-step myself before I can carry the message. By practicing the principles of the program in all my affairs, I become a loving example of a better life. When I share my experiences, strengths, and hope with newcomers, I in turn give them hope. Hope gives us all a reason to live, and with that comes strength to go on. Meditation for today. May I always be the best possible example to others. May my past experiences and future goals give them and me the willingness to work harder to achieve and maintain emotional health. Today, I will remember I cannot keep it unless I give it away. Fair use. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. January 15. Promise 1. We will discover our real identities by loving and accepting ourselves. BRB, that means Big Red Book, page 591. Real identity? The idea that we aren't real can be very confusing at first. The concept is difficult, even maddening. As we go to meetings, we may begin to hear about a critical inner parent, an inner loving parent, and the hidden inner child. It seems complicated. Somewhere in the first few months of attending meetings, it clicks. Slowly, we learn, understand, and apply the information we have been gathering, and one day the realization of our dilemma becomes clear. The picture finally comes into view. Without knowing it, we have been perpetrating a fraud, impersonating our true self with our false self. As we dive into step work, we begin to reparent ourselves. In the same instant, we become accepting of ourselves, no longer untethered and wandering aimlessly. Our course is made clear with each day of practicing this simple, higher power given program. A miracle occurs as a result of the work we do in ACA. We unshackle our true self from our false self, embrace our hidden inner child with the caring arms of our inner loving parent, and are carried to higher and higher levels of freedom. On this day, I will listen, learn, and apply the concepts and principles of ACA recovery. They are the means of discovering my real identity, allowing me to love and accept myself. Please subscribe, like, share, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be.